Hello and welcome to this session. In today's session, I'll be discussing about the Kirksel's algorithm, which is for finding the minimum cost spanning tree. But where do we find the minimum cost spanning tree? Well, for that, let's understand the basics of graphs. So, how the graphs are represented in computer. Well, a graph consists of two basic elements. One is set of vertices and set of edges, right? So now one more thing which you should know is the edge is a mapping from one vertex to another vertex, right? Therefore, the set of edges has to be a subset of the vertex, that is V cross V set. So that's why, it may be less than that, or it may be the maximum number of edges can be from when the graph is fully connected, that is one edge from one vertex to all other vertices. Well, a weighted graph is represented using adjacency matrix, and this is an example of that adjacency matrix. Okay, so here is a graph, typical graph, which is set of nodes and set of edges. And they are definitely less than V cross V, because there are these edges are from A to E is missing, like many edges are missing, right? So therefore it will be definitely a subset. Okay, so now let's look at how this graph is. A, B, C, D, E, F and G. These are the nodes of the graphs, and AB, AC, right? Then BE, then DE, DC, CD, all these are the edges of the graphs. Now what way we have represented? From A to A, there is no connection as such, right? There is no self-link, okay? And that is why the cost is 0. You are at node A, and if you stay at node A, the cost will be 0. But if we move from node A to C, right, then the cost is 1. Similarly, from node A to B, the cost is 2. So this is what is being represented over here. There is no direct edge from A to F, A to E, and A to D, and all other nodes you can see. So that is why A to D, A to E, A to F, and A to E, they are all infinite weights, right? And this particular thing, okay, this is a symmetric matrix in the sense that upper triangular as well as lower triangular matrices, not in that particular, but both the upper triangular and lower triangular matrices are concurrent to each other. Why? Because obviously when there is this particular is not a directional graph, right? Had it been directional, then this would have been different, right? So the edge which is from A to B, also B to A is the same edge. Therefore, B to A has the same weight, you can see. So this is the way you represent a graph with the help of adjacency matrix. Now, once we are able to represent the graph, what is the minimum cost spanning tree or minimum spanning tree? What is the purpose of using it, and what we can do with minimum spanning tree? Well, minimum spanning tree, let us first try to find the definition. It is a spanning tree basically connecting all the nodes, right? And since it is a minimum spanning tree, so these nodes will be having minimum cost. So what are going to be the advantages of it? Definitely the advantages will be, suppose you want to connect all these places by some wires or something. This is the way of connecting them together with the minimum cost, right? So their overall cost is going to be minimum. Whereas the graph, we have many more parts, but minimum spanning tree will be only for specific purpose of finding the minimum, if we are interested in connecting these nodes with the minimum stuff. Okay, now minimum spanning tree is a spanning tree of minimum weight, and this is a tree of graph connecting all the vertices. So all the vertices should be connected. Now, what are the properties of MST? Well, it has one less vertices. So if I have 7 vertices, It will have 6 edges only. Excuse me. Second, MST does not have a cycle. There won't be any cycle in the MST. Next, MST may not be unique for a graph. It may not be unique, but then the cost is definitely going to be the minimal as far as MST is concerned. So how do we make this particular MST? Well, there are 2 popular algorithms for designing or for making this particular MST from a particular graph. One is the Prim's algorithm, and the second one is Kruskal's algorithm. In this session, we will be discussing about the Kruskal's algorithm. Now, what is the basic principle of Kruskal's algorithm? Well, the working strategy of Kruskal algorithm is sort the edges. So, whatever the edges, sort them in non-decreasing order of their weights. So, that is what we will start with. Then select the edge with minimum weight. Check, does it form a cycle in the subgraph? Okay. If no, select the edge of that graph and add it to subgraph of MST. So we'll be making a subgraph, okay, which all the nodes distinct. From there we would be starting. Otherwise we will be discarding that particular edge when, so if no, select the edge of the graph G and add it to the subgraph of MST. Otherwise discard the edges. Now repeat this particular step 2 until there are V minus 1 vertices in the subgraph. This graph is minimum spanning tree of the graph. So what you can see over here, we are all the time selecting an edge with the minimum weight. And whenever we are selecting this kind of way or process, it is basically what we are referring to is the finding that is greedy. We call that greedy approach, that we are greedily selecting edges, and these edges then we gradually are putting into the minimum spanning tree, right? Plugging into the minimum spanning tree. Now that's very interesting. So let us see first the algorithm and then implementation of that Kruskal algorithm. Okay, so this Kruskal algorithm, we start with K is basically a set of edges which has been selected in the minimum cost spanning tree. Okay, and initially it is initialized to null set. Now for each vertex V, which is in the set of vertices, make set V. So what we are doing, we are making each vertex as a set in the very beginning. Okay. Then we are sorting the edges in the set E in non-decreasing order, right? So non-decreasing order is, obviously they will be increasing or equals to, right, by their weight. So that particular sorting will be on weight. For the edge U to V, which is a member of the set of edges from the this particular sorted list, if find set U, so we will find the set of vertex U for the edge UV. If it is not equals to set V, so there will be two sets. That set of vertices, first of all we have made all the vertices as unique sets, but gradually we will be merging those sets, and in this particular set, if set U is not same as set of V, then we will be adding it into the minimum vertex, one of the minimum vertex. We will add it over there. We will make a union of it, and then we will do the union of set of U and set of or the set in which V was there. We will make the union of those sets. And finally, when all this process is complete, we will return K, which happens to be the minimum cost or minimum spanning tree using Kruskal algorithm. The algorithm looks simple, but how exactly it works? That is very, very important for us to. Well, let's look into the working of Cryxell's algorithm. Okay, so this is our tree. Now the first three steps, as you were with me, so and what we are doing for k is initialized as null. So you can see the set k, there are no edges listed over here. So k is set of edges which forms the minimum cost spanning tree. All right. Then each vertex v, that is a member of vertex set. So that means A, B, C, D, all these vertices till G. Make set V. So we made the sets. So now the sets of vertices are A, B, C. So we have 7 sets, each consisting of one vertex. The next step is sort the edges in E in a non-decreasing order by weight W. So we have sorted this particular edges. So what you can see, A to C was the minimum. So this is what A to C, 1 is appearing at the top. Then A to B is next, that is 2. So it is appearing next. Then D to G, okay, D to G is appearing next, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these sorted sets of edges are appearing in this particular sequence. All right. Now what? Now the next step is to make the tree. So how exactly we are going to start with? What is the minimum edge? A to C. So what we are going to do? A to C has cost 1, right? So what we are going to do for the edge U to V, which is a member of E from the sorted list, right? So we have done that. We have taken the edge AC, all right? Now what we do? Find set U. So what is the set of A? Right now we have made it AC after this particular step. But as you can see in the previous slide, this was A only, right? And what is the set of B? It is set of C. It is this particular set. So these two are distinct sets, right? So these two were distinct sets. So what we are doing therefore? Therefore, the set of edges which contains minimum spanning tree is union. So we are unioning, we are adding this edge which happens to be edge A to C, right? You can see this, there is a plain bracket over here, A to C, whereas over here it is representing a set. That is why there is a curly bracket. And as union U to V has to be done, so we have merged this set with this set and forming it A, C. So we have been able to merge these two sets using this particular operation. So after the first step, what we have selected edge AC as one of the part of minimum cost spanning tree for this particular graph. The set A now is set AC, and in addition we have set B, we have set D, we have set E, F and G. All these sets are there. Let's do the next. We'll do the next in this place only. Okay. Now which is the next edge, minimum edge? This has been added, so now we have the edge A to B. Now consider this edge A to B. What is the weight? 2. Where exactly is the set? So let's say find set U. Find set U of A, right? Where exactly is this? AC. A is in this particular set. And where is B? B is in another set B. Both are not same, right? They are not the same because this set is different from this. A is found in this set, B is found in this set, right? Therefore, the set AB, right, can once again be added as the So we will be now adding this K, union operator. We'll be performing the union operator with the set K and edge AB. So what exactly we will be getting? In addition to AC, we will be getting AB, right? This is what exactly we will be getting, right? And in addition, we will be doing union of U and V. What was earlier union? What was the earlier set? AC. And we have done it union with B. So it becomes A, C and B. Now no more, B is no more a set. It has become union of in this particular set. So now I have a simple set A, C, B and two edges now, AC and AB, which are being highlighted in this particular slide. All right. Now what do? Once again, we continue this particular operation. Why? We have not yet reached a stage where we are able to find the minimum cost spanning tree. So, which is the next edge in the series for the edge UV from the sorted list? It is D to G. All right. Let's check D as well as G. D as well as G, both are separate sets, right? Okay. They are not common with ACB at all. D is separate, G is separate. So what we are going to do over here? We have done this. K becomes whatever was the value of K earlier, that is edge AC and edge AB are already there, and we will do union with this particular edge, which happens to be DG. So we will add DG in this particular list, okay, after the union operation, and we will find the union of D comma G, and of set belonging to D and set belonging to G. So the set belonging to D is D, and just set belonging to G is set G. So we will be finding the union of these two sets, which will be D comma G in that particular set. So this is what the graph will become. So now we have three edges. All the three edges you can see here. This set remains as it is, but D and G forms another set. G is no longer a set anymore. And now you can see we have disjoint graphs, right? We have two disjoint graphs which are represented as ABC and DG. Rest all are the sets, but that is allowed in Cruxell's algorithm. Now what we do next? What we do next is just we keep on moving, right? So we have already selected first, second and third edges. Now which is the next next edge which is to be selected? Greedily it is B to E. And what is its weight? 3. So we will now be selecting B to E. Let's check where exactly B belongs to. B belongs in this particular set ACB. Alright. And E belongs to set E. So what would be our step now? BE will be added as another edge in set K, and the union of whatever was the set of B and set of E. So now it will become set consisting of A, C, B and E, and another edge will be added over here. So now you can see this particular operation. After this particular operation, you will get this particular sequence of edges. So what we have got? A, C, B and E, and DG is another set, F is another set, right? And we have already added 4 links, right? 4 that is edges to the minimum cost spanning tree. Still the graph you can see is not yet connected. Why? Because this is a distinct tree and this is a distinct tree. So it is not a connected graph, right? It has to be a connected graph or connected tree in order to be minimum cost spanning tree. How many more edges do we need? We at least need 2 more edges, right? One connecting this entire tree with this particular tree and one connecting the edge F, right? One edge connecting F. So at least we require 2 more such connections. Anyhow, we continue with the algorithm. So now we have B to D. B to D is having a weight of 4. So let's see B to D. This is greedy selection only, please remember, and these edges are in the order of the weightage of their weights. Okay, so you can refer to that. Okay, so now we will be selecting BD edge. All right, when we add BD edge, what is going to happen? B belongs to ACBE set, right? This first set. And D belongs to set DG. So this particular union operation now will form the union of A, B, C, D, G and E. So they all will be put in a single set now because it is which is the union of these two sets. All right. And obviously this BD once is added, so you will be finding this kind of a configuration now. So now your minimum spanning tree has reached that particular stage, but still node F is left. All right. So now what we have, A, C, B, E, D, G. This is forming one particular set, right? It does not still contains F. All other nodes have been added, right? So that is also an indicator that I have not reached the stage of minimum cost spanning tree. Now we move on from here. Okay. Then we have C to F. All right. So next edge is C to, no, before C to F, we have E to D. There is an edge called E to D, whose weight is 5, less than that. So there is a weight edge E to D. Now if we try to add E to D, what we find, E as well as D, both are all in this set. So it falsifies. The if condition becomes false. So as soon as this if condition becomes false, these two operations are not going to be evaluated. That means this particular edge, B to E, will simply be discarded. So this is what we have done. E to D, this edge has been discarded, simply discarded, removed. What next? Still the operation is not yet complete. So which is the next edge? It is C to F. Now C to F is this particular edge. F is once again a different set. C is belonging to this particular set. So we are going to add these 3 steps or these 3 nodes to, we will add this particular edge in this set of nodes. So what we are going to end up with, we'll get A, C, B, E, D, F, G. Okay, so this set is now complete, contains all the vertices, and C to F is already there. The number of edges are already completed. Therefore, you will find after that, we will be discarding C to D because C as well as D are part of this set. We'll be discarding F to G, which is once again F is here as well as G is here, and we'll be discarding D to F because D is here as well as F is also here. So we'll be discarding all the remaining 3 edges as far as the minimum cost spanning tree is concerned, right? So now this forms my minimum cost spanning tree. All right. And what I need to return, I have not added this. That's why they are shown as crossed. So I'll be returning K now. That is the set of edges which are part of this particular K. So what will be my final the sets, the minimum cost spanning tree? This is going to be my minimum cost spanning tree, which is being shown in these 2 places. And the cost is, you just add the cost of all these edges, you will find this is 18. So we are able to perform this particular Cruxell's algorithm with the help of this particular graph. Now, what is the cost of this particular or time complexity of Cruxell's algorithm? The initialization of set K took just order 1 time. Line 2 and 3 for making set, right? It can be executed as many times as many vertices are there. So it is order V times. Line 3, that is sorting of edges, takes the sort algorithm, good sorting algorithm takes that is E log E, right? That is the time, the number of edges log E times. That is the N log N. That is the runtime behavior of sorting algorithms. The second, at line 4, the second of the loop execute find set and union of the disjoint set. That is run E times. And to check whether there is an edge to be added or not, it takes just log E times, because we can search in a set using binary search if we organize the data effectively. Thus, the total time taken will be once again E log E. Now, if we add all the times together, and in the worst case, the number of edges happens to be V cross V, V star V. So we have V square number is the number of edges. Therefore, we get E log V square, which happens to be, what you get is 4E log V. And if we take the order of this entire step, it is to the order of, that is the number of the number of edges log number of vertices time. So this is the time complexity of Cruxell's algorithm, and you can see it is same as the other algorithm, which was Prim's algorithm. So with this, we come to an end of session. Let us try to summarize or conclude this particular session with some of the points. That is, a minimum spanning tree is a tree of minimum weight that connects all the vertices of a graph. Cruxell's algorithm keeps adding the smallest possible edge that does not make a cycle and creates the minimum spanning tree. It selects the smallest new edges, which is not forming a cycle, and adds it to the tree. Thus, it is a greedy algorithm, as we stated. And the time complexity of algorithm described in this section is of the order of cardinality of E log cardinality of set V, which is, that is the number of edges log number of vertices. With this, we end this particular session. Bye for now.
Do you wish to be part of a television studio like this, or any other media system, or already part of any media system, want to enhance a new set of skills? Welcome to School of Journalism and New Media Studies. Here in the School of Journalism and New Media Studies, we are offering program for all set of people to learn and enhance their media skills. The vision of School of Journalism and New Media Studies is to generate a new set of professionals in the area of media and communication studies with understanding about role of media in the national development and global understanding. We offer innovative programs in the field of journalism and mass communication that sets the benchmark of high quality learning and teaching process at the national level. We offer these programs across the country with the help of our regional network as well as study center. Same manner, many of our programs are offered through online mode with a sophisticated learning management system. SOGNMS offers programs from PhD in journalism and mass communication till certificate level. We have masters in journalism and mass communication. The eligibility is bachelor's degree, and we are introducing this program in 3 languages: Hindi, Tamil and English. Students from national and international students can join either through online mode as well as in the distance mode. We have 4 postgraduate diploma programs, specialized areas in the field of development communication, digital media, electronic media and journalism and mass communication program. And all these 4 programs are available in distance mode. 2 programs are available in online mode, development communication and digital media. And we have specialized certificate program in community radio. IGNOU employs various media and communication tools for better teaching and learning process. School of Journalism and New Media Studies utilizes this media system for delivering all our programs. Come and join with us for exploring a new career and enhance your media skills.
Namaskar. Welcome to this afternoon session of Gyan Darshan. A very good afternoon to all of you. This afternoon, we have Dr. Abhishek Mishra with us. He is an assistant professor in the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies in the Indira Gandhi National Open University. He has an academic background in management, particularly in entrepreneurship, human resource management, and ethics. Dr. Mishra focuses on human values to drive organizational success. He has a PhD in management studies, focusing on the optimization of human capital and resources. Dr. Mishra has presented research papers at international seminars, authored numerous research papers, and contributed chapters in well-known publications. We welcome Dr. Abhishek Mishra to this session. Before I invite him to begin with, I would like to ask Abhishek the title of today's presentation about it: Human Capital Management from Indian Scriptures, Insights from Bhagavad Gita. To begin with, Dr. Abhishek, could you please throw some light on the importance and relevance of ancient Indian scriptures in today's modern life?
Thank you so much, Professor Kapoor. It's a very relevant question that day to day in managerial approaches when we talk about the industries, organization, enterprises. They have focusing on the employees' betterment, and day to day they are giving training, motivation, lectures, all this, but they are lagging somewhere. Somewhere they are lagging how to encourage, how to transform inner changes or inner transformation of the employees so that organization can fulfill what he wants, what he desires. We know 19th century is the century of industrial revolution, whereas 20th century is considered has been that century is known as a agricultural revolution. But 21st century is the century of knowledge revolution. Those who have a knowledge and information will be respected everywhere. An old Indian saying, "Dese pujyate raja, vidwan sarvatra pujyate," says that those who have a knowledge and information will be respected and will be honored. And this is our culture and civilization that leads toward the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया. हम सभी मानव जात के कल्याण की बात करते हैं, इस धरा को अपनी माँ और अपना परिवार समझते हैं. ऐसे विचार को लेकर के when we are going towards the concept of industrialization, what we found, Bhagavad Gita is much and more relevant in modern days life, because every employee has a target and he has to do the target within a time period, and there are a lot of conflicts, internal conflicts in the mind of the employee, how he have to achieve that target. So if we talk about our ancient scriptures day to day, आज हम देखते हैं कि अच्छे खासे संस्थान में पढ़ने वाला एक IITian भी सुसाइड कर रहा है, बड़े बड़े इंडस्ट्रीज भी सुसाइड कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारा पैसा कमाने के बाद भी विदेश भाग जा रहे हैं. They don't have ethics in their lives. When we talk about India, this is the country of culture, civilization, ethics. So we must have to look at the past and the Old Testaments of our country that is much and more enriched in the philosophy, in the ethos that can play a very vital role for the improvement of the employee as well as the organization. So let us begin the today's presentation. The topic which I have opted, that is human capital management from ancient Indian scriptures, insight from the Bhagavad Gita. We know every organization have a three important assets that we can say that they are the capital of the organization. We are very familiar about the man, machine, and material. Men are the backbone of any organization. We have to consider this is the much and more valuable assets. If we manage that people, they are working in the organization, we always going towards the efficient manner so that our employee can play a very vital role for the betterment of the organization. First of all, what is human capital management? We know every organization have some resources. They are playing very important role for the improvement as well as qualitative enhancement of the organization for the profit maximization. Human capital management is about making the most of the skills and abilities of people in a company or organization to help the business succeed. This is the important thing, that the relevance of human capital, every organization understand the importance. So importance of managing human capital in organization. Human capital is vital in helping the companies, people do their best, which makes the whole organization stronger and more successful. It is about taking care of the employees so that the company can do really well. what the organization needed. He must have to focus on that the organization is the key assets and the employee or the pathfinder. They have to do what the vision and mission of the organization. So we must have to go towards the overview of ancient Indian scriptures that can play a very important and vital role in the successful of the modern days management systems. Ancient Indian scriptures are old books, testaments full of wise ideas about life, leadership, and how to behave well. They teach valuable lessons about ethics, teamwork, and living a good life that still matter today. These books like the Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Shraddhotpati, Sripitika, all these important testament, Old Testament, including Quran, Guru Granth Sahib, they are much and more important for the pathfinder of the society as well as organization. In every houses there is a temple or worship place where we are looking that these holy scriptures are put there, and in our houses everyone is praising that books just like a god. But we must have to understand that these books can play a very important and efficient role for your work life, for your performance management, for your motivation, for your ethical behavior. So we must have to understand why these Old Testaments matters, because these are the Old Testaments which have in firstly propound the concept of ethics. They told how to behave in the society in a manner, what is right and what is wrong. These Old Testaments have a timeless advice that these are relevant in modern day's life, and we know we can find a good leaders with the help of these old scriptures. And these books have a very important role for creating a very good culture and very good environment among the employees. These old techniques and information as well as the way of life that is important for every person to change their inner interchange, inner transformation for the betterment of the organization. These Old Testament can be used as modern techniques for the managerial approaches for the betterment of the organization. Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. We know these holy scriptures has been written in a very drastic situation where there is a fight, there is a battle between a lot of soldiers, and there the Lord Krishna give the lectures to the Prince Arjuna. The situation is very different at that time, where Arjun is so much frustrated and he did not have a clear mind what to do, what not to do. He is so much fainted that why I am going to kill my brothers, my teachers and all my friends. But Lord Krishna motivated him by the lot of lectures that you are a soldier, and soldier, his duty is to fight against the enemies. And we know भगवान कृष्ण ने उनको इन्हीं बातों से उनके कर्तव्यों के निर्वहन के लिए इस प्रकार का मार्गदर्शन किया कि उनको समझ में आया कि उनका कर्तव्य क्या है. इसीलिए भगवद गीता के लिए कहा जाता है गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्य शास्त्र विस्तरे या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुख प्रसाद विनिष्ठिता. ये गीता ही है जो हमें हमारे कर्तव्यों का पहचान कराती है. एक कर्मचारी के रूप में, एक मानव के रूप में हमें किन मूल्यों को लेकर के अपने जीवन में आगे बढ़ना है, इन सभी का समावेश करते हुए हमें उन प्रबंधन के सिद्धांतों से भी रूबरू करा रही है जिन सिद्धांतों को आज के जगत में अत्यंत आवश्यक रूप में देखा जा रहा है. the key themes and teachings relevant to human capital management that I have been opted from the ancient scripture Bhagavad Gita: duty and responsibility, motivation and dedication, conflict resolution, continuous learning, leadership qualities. We know every employee must have a clear about what are their duties, what are their responsibilities in the organization. Arjun did not have clear about the vision. There is internal conflict in the mind of Arjun that how I can do my duty. Lord Krishna tell him what is the important thing for him at the battle of Kurukshetra. The dialogue take place before a great war and hold timeless wisdom relevant to everyday life. भगवान कृष्ण उन्हें उस प्रकार से मोटिवेट भी करते हैं, उनके समस्याओं का समाधान करते हुए आंतरिक जो भी विक्षोभ उनके मन मस्तिष्क में था उसका निवारण करते हुए उनको कंटिन्यूअस लर्निंग के महत्ता की ओर भी ले जाते हैं. व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ द कंटिन्यूअस लर्निंग, एंड उन्हें सबको समायोजित करते हुए अपने टीम को टीम बिल्डिंग की भी बात करते हुए लीडरशिप क्वालिटी का समावेश करते हुए आगे ले जाते हैं. These are some verses which I have taken from the Bhagavad Gita that is important in the insight on leadership. The Sanskrit verses from chapter 2, verses 47 of the Bhagavad Gita: कर्मण्येवा धिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भूमा ते संघोत्स्व कर्मणि. We are well familiar about this sloka, but these verses have a deep meaning. We love the process, what we are doing. We love the work, what we are doing. We didn't care about the result or fruit of the action that has been taken. This verses emphasizes the concept of performing one's duty without attachments and the fruit of action. The next verses which I have taken from the Bhagavad Gita, that the chapter 3 verses 5 of the Bhagavad Gita, that is nahi kaschit chanmapi jatu tishtatya karmakrit karyate haryavansah karma sarvah prakriti jair gunah. This verses stresses the inavailability of action, highlighting that no one can remain without performing any action even for a moment, as everyone is driven to action by the qualities born of the nature. जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं, हम सब लोग जन्म से ही कुछ गुणों को लेकर के अपने जीवन को आगे बढ़ाते हैं. कुछ ऐसे नेतृत्वकर्ता को हम देखते हैं अपने जीवन में जो अच्छा नेतृत्व कर सकते हैं, उनके गुणों से प्रभावित होकर के हम काम करते हैं. किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जो हमारा मैनेजर होता है, जो हमारा टॉप मैनेजमेंट होता है, उसकी जो क्वालिटीज हैं, उसकी जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, उसका लाइफ है, उसका बिहेवियर है, हम उसको देखते हुए मोटिवेट होते हैं. और जन्म से सभी के अंदर कुछ न कुछ ऐसे गुण होते हैं, उन गुणों को लेकर के हर व्यक्ति आगे बढ़ता है. कोई भी बिना कुछ किए हुए नहीं रह सकता. एवरी पीपल हैज टू डू एनीथिंग इन हिज लाइफ. दिस इज द इम्पॉर्टेंट verses which I have taken from the Bhagavad Gita for leadership regarding. The last verses on the insight on leadership which I have taken from Bhagavad Gita, that is much more important for modern day's life. Yattu kamep suna karma sanghakareణ va punah kriyate bahulayasa tadrajas samudrahritam. This is a very important verses that is for the selfless work, that is for egoless work. Every organization, the manager or top management take anything on his ego. They want to do things on the behalf of discrimination. These verses speak about the nature of the action done with selfless desire and a sense of egoism. It characterizes action driven by craving or performed with excessive effort, has influenced by the qualities of rajas, passion and activity, which means अगर हम कोई भी कार्य भावना से, ऐसी भावना से लेते हैं जिसमें हमारे अभिमान का उसमें विलुप्त होता है, जिसमें हमारा ऐसा उद्देश्य रहता है कि हम अपने लिए स्वार्थी होकर के कुछ कार्य करने जा रहे हैं, एट दैट टाइम वी आर कंज्यूमिंग मच एंड मोर टाइम टू डू दैट वर्क। हमें ज्यादा इफिशिएंट ऊर्जा की आवश्यकता होती है ऐसे कार्यों को करने में, और ऐसे कार्यों को करते समय हम क्वालिटेटिव उस कार्य को कर पाएंगे इसकी गारंटी भी हम नहीं ले सकते। वी कैन नॉट से दैट द वर्क दैट हैज बीन टेकन on the basis of ego and selflessness, that can be not efficient and that cannot be in a qualitative manner. The discussion on how these techniques relate to effective leadership in organization. Some techniques which I have obtained from the verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita that is important for the modern days management employees, so that they can improve their efficiency for the growth and betterment of the organization. Duty and responsibility. The first variable which I have opted, duty and responsibility, encourages fulfilling one's duties without attachment to outcomes, aligning with the concept of diligent work in human quality management. Leadership qualities. Emphasizes selfless and ethical leadership, guiding managers to lead by example and foster a supportive work environment. The third one is motivation and dedication. That teaches that we have heard the slokas, the कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्तु मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भूमा ते संगोत्स्व कर्मणि. It's mean that we must have to focus on the process of the work and our duty. Don't go towards the result. जब हम परिणाम की ओर जाते हैं तो हमें बहुत सारी तमाम समस्याएं हमारे मन मस्तिष्क में एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की तरह उत्पन्न होती हैं, जिसकी वजह से हम परिणाम को भी उस दूरगामी सोच तक नहीं ले जा पाते हैं, और वो तमाम समस्याएं हमारे मन में बिछोभ के रूप में उत्पन्न होती हैं. उस बिछोभ की वजह से जो कार्य हम करने जा रहे हैं उस कार्य की सिद्धि को भी हम प्राप्त नहीं कर पाते हैं. इसीलिए भगवद गीता में that slok is much and more important for the motivation purpose. We must have to focus our duty and work. The fourth factor which I have obtained, that is conflict resolution. We know Arjuna is so much fainted about how he has do their duty. That is in Western philosophy they are talking about the conflict of external conflict. अभी किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जब हम कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की बात करते हैं तो दो लोगों के बीच में लड़ाई को कॉन्फ्लिक्ट समझा जाता है, लेकिन जो हमारा इंडियन फिलॉसफी है, इंडियन मैनेजमेंट थॉट है, वो कहता है कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इनर इंजीनियरिंग का पार्ट है. हम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के मजबूरियों की वजह से, परेशानियों की वजह से उसको वहां तो खत्म कर देते हैं, लेकिन मेरे मन मस्तिष्क में उस व्यक्ति को लेकर के ये चलता रहता है कि उसने ये ठीक नहीं किया, मैं इसका भविष्य में बदला लूंगा. तो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेजमेंट इज ऑल अबाउट द इनर इंजीनियरिंग. दैट इज आवर एंशिएंट इंडियन स्क्रिप्चर सेज अस कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट अगर मन मस्तिष्क से निकल गया तो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट निकल गया. आउटर अगर इंफॉर्मेशन से आपको लगता है कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं है तो वो बहुत ही कम समय के लिए कॉन्फ्लिक्ट निकलता है. द लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, कंटिन्यूअस लर्निंग. दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स इन द डे टू डे लाइफ. वी मस्ट हैव टू एडवोकेट फॉर कंटिन्यूअस सेल्फ इंप्रूवमेंट एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट, प्रमोटिंग ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट विद इन द वर्क प्लेस. Employee engagement and motivation. Teaching from the Bhagavad Gita on motivation and dedication, detachment from the fruit of the action, as we have earlier discussed, selfless action, dedication to duty, and staying resolute. This is a much and more important things which we have the employee that is engaged in the organization. We can use such techniques for the motivation purpose of the employee. These are some strategies for enhancing the employee engagement based on these teaching.
Dr. Abhishek, can you give some examples that Bhagavad Gita strategies for enhancing employee efficiency are being implemented today in India in some of the corporate organizations?
Yes. Some of the organizations that I know, Surya, the company Surya as well as Tata, these companies are focusing so much towards their employees, how they can interchange the inner transformation so that they can do the business process engineering. The organization that has decided right now, I'm looking that they are not focusing on the outer development of the employee. They are focusing towards the inner development, how they are trained their employee so that they can transform them for the betterment of the organization and for himself also.
Yeah, thank you. You carry on, but we are left with another 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay,
so
thank you so much.
You can focus on some of the important aspects and you can skip some.
Okay. Application of these teachings in managing teams and resolving conflicts in the workplace, dialogue and understanding. We can use the dialogue for the communication within employee when they are facing some conflicts. If there is dialogue, communication take places, that conflicts can be resolved very easily. And promoting a collaborative culture within the organization. That culture needed for the emphasize the value of the teamwork and cooperation, creating opportunities for team members to collaborate, knowledge and appreciating diverse perspective and skills. Leadership guidance. Encourage leadership that is impartial, wise and empathetic. Leaders should guide conflicts with fairness, wisdom and understanding of different viewpoints, ensuring decisions benefit the team as a whole. These are the some applications which we have to take as important assets for the organization. That ego management. Bhagavad Gita can play a very important role in the ego management, can conflict resolution training and can establishing common goals. These applications are very important for the encouraging team members to detach from personal ego and focus on the collective goals. Provide training on conflict resolution techniques inspired by the Gita's teaching, equip employees and leaders with skill to manage conflict effectively, emphasizing dialogue, empathy, and finding common grounds. These are some training and development that we can take as a part in the organization for the sustainable development of the employee as well as organization. Continuous learning. We know in Bhagavad Gita, nahi jnanena sadrish. Just tell that the Bhagavad Gita tell continuous learning is a much and more important part for the improvement of the organization and employee both, and adaptability and resilience. आज बारिश है, धूप है, छांव है, इन सबको स्वीकार करते हुए, परेशानियों को देखते हुए अपने आप को ऐसी सिचुएशन में भी अपने सही निर्णय की ओर जाना, ये भगवत गीता से सीखने को मिलता है. पर्सनल ग्रोथ हम सभी जानते हैं. युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्त चेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्त स्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखा. इस श्लोक के माध्यम से अपने व्यक्तिगत जीवन को ठीक करके हम अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को भी सही दिशा में ले जा सकते हैं.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek, for your very important and interesting discourse and for highlighting important teachings of Sri Bhagavad Gita on managerial aspects of modern life today in India and all over the world, and how these teachings are relevant for corporate organizations today. With that, we conclude this session on Bhagavad Gita and managerial aspects. Thank you. Namaskar
Thank you so much,
to all.
Thank you so much.
Are you interested in television journalism or radio journalism or online journalism? Or do you want to learn with the flexibility of open learning? Or if you are a working professional, wants to enhance your knowledge and skill with certification in the field of electronic media, then School of Journalism and New Media Study IGNOU offers PG Diploma in Electronic Media for you. This program includes audio and audio-visual program production for radio, television and online platforms. Here are some important details about the program. We have total 8 courses of 32 credits, 6 theory courses, 1 practical and 1 project. Eligibility: bachelor's degree in any subject. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3 years. Medium is English, but students can write their examinations, assignments, practical and project in Hindi also. So if you are interested in television, radio or online media, please come and join IGNOU's PG Diploma in Electronic Media.
Namaskar. I welcome you to this session on MEG 16, Indian Folk Literature, which is a part of our MA English program. MEG 16 is an 8-credit elective course under our MA English program from School of Humanities from the English discipline. And I'm sure that you must have gone through the content, the material very carefully. And today, by the end of this session, I think you will be able to understand the connection, the interface between ecology and folklore. And for that matter, I, Professor Nandini Sahu, from the discipline of English, School of Humanities, would be discussing with you in detail the importance of eco-criticism, ecofeminism, green studies, and ocean humanities. How the ocean, the blue, and the forests, the green, they are connected with folklore, and how we have brought folklore research to the table, and we have been creating a serious and a critical engagement vis-a-vis research, teaching, and pedagogy of all these subjects taken together. MEG 16, Indian Folk Literature, is a text-based course, as you already know. There are important texts from Indian writing in English as well as Indian Literature in English Translation, where we have talked about bringing the folk elements of those seminal and important texts to the table. There was a time when there is a school of thought which used to think that anything oral is folklore, and anything documented, anything written, anything preserved in the form of black and white loses its folkloristic. But fortunately, we have brought that to an end. With Indira Gandhi National Open University introducing a 64 credits MA program in Folklore and Culture Studies, and also the School of Humanities of IGNOU introducing MEG 16. This is one of the courses of that MEG 16 course. Out of the 7 blocks, this is one block. We have created a very flexible approach to folklore. We have understood and we have tried to put it on black and white that folk elements, our rich indigenous cultural heritages, the Indian knowledge systems, the indigenous knowledge systems should be and can be and must be preserved in terms of the academic courses and programs. Also, fortunately, you have a complete UGC NET examination on folk literature, and if you go to the UGC website, you will find that the syllabus of the UGC NET examination is in tandem with this course, MEG 16, as well as MA in Folklore and Culture Studies, which IGNOU offers. And today, many universities in the country have taken up the task of introducing folklore as a part of their teaching and research. Many students like you have been doing their MPhil dissertations, PhD theses, and also the project works of the MA programs on very interesting and important aspects related to folklore and culture studies. Having given that introduction, I would quickly tell you about what are the things that we have introduced in this course, MEG 16. There are 7 blocks, as I already told you. The block 1 is Folk Literature and Language, Research and Pedagogy. This is a theoretical block. It talks about the indigenous languages, the endangered languages, and our different approaches to reading and doing research on folklore. And then the next block, block 2, talks about identity and hybridity, Kshetra and Desha. What is folk identity? What is the creation of a folk mind? Towards the end of my lecture, I would be talking to you about the creation of a folk mind, right? And then the next block discusses folk literature, sources, characteristics, classifications, and functions. And under that block, you have myths and legends, you have folk narrative poems and folk songs, and then you have proverbs, riddles and speech, archiving and documentation, and you have adaptations and interpretations of folk literature in modern times. The contemporaneity, the relevance of folk has been discussed in this particular block. And the block 4, it talks about folk tales of India, the motifs, modes and mores. There are different folk tales. A.K. Ramanujan's collection of folk tales, which is a very, very important and seminal text. It has been taken in this. And also you have Warrior Elwin's When the World Was Young. And then you have Manoj Das' Tales Told by Mystics and The Lady Who Died 1.5 Times. Those kind of interesting folk tales from Manoj Das. And then Mamang Dai's Legends of the Pansam. So those kind of important folk tales are there. And under folk poetry, the next block, Oral Epics of India by Stuart H. Blackburn. That's a part of the course. And The Awakened Wind, the Oral Poetry of Indian Tribes by Sitakanta Mohapatra. That is a part of this block. And Ramayana in Modern South India by Paula Richman. It's a very interesting text. In one of my lectures, I'll be discussing that with you in detail. And folk in contemporary Indian fiction, there is nothing like Indian folk literature in English. isn't it? So Indian Bhasha literatures where folk elements are there, we have attempted to translate those to English and then put those as a part of this block, where we have talked about Pather Panchali by Vibhuti Bhushan Bandhopadhyay, though this cannot be particularly and exactly a folk text, but we have tried to take out the folk elements in that text and have tried to put it here. And Gopinath Mohanty's Paraja. That's a part of tribal literature as well as folk literature. There is a thin line between tribal studies and folk studies. In one of my lectures, I would attempt to create the distinction between the tribal literatures and the folk literatures. And then Maila Anchal by Phanishwarnath Renu is there in this block. The Dilemma by Vijay Dandetha. Chemmin by T. Shankar Pillai. Today I would be discussing that when we talk about ocean humanities. And then Kantapura by Raja Rao. The folk elements, we have taken that into consideration in this particular chapter, right? And the last block is folk theatre. We have tried to talk about the distinction between folk drama and folk theatre, the text and the context. And then in this we talk about Jatra, Kathakali, Nautanki, Pala, Videshya, and Dandanata and those kind of things. And folk popular and film, how our film industry extensively uses folk elements. We have talked about that in this particular chapter. And then Girish Karnad's Hayabadana and Nagamandala, that is another chapter. And Habib Tanvir's Charan Das Chor. So those kind of texts have been taken into consideration here. And then in today's lecture, today's discussion, I would be talking about, rather I would be problematizing the colonization of the forests and the oceans and how folklore research has a deep and a critical engagement with that kind of problematization. And then let's also talk about blue economy. This UNESCO's ocean science and the blue economy and how that has influenced, that has impacted our social development and growth. We would also have a word of that, about that. And then let's talk about psychophysical living systems and the green approaches and the sustainable development and the multidisciplinary approach. Well, when you do any kind of research, it can be intradisciplinary. That means working within a discipline, that working within your own discipline. And then interdisciplinary research means taking ideas, exchanging ideas between two disciplines like, for example, history and English, or gender studies and folklore, or anthropology and English. So two disciplines should be exchanging ideas among themselves. And then the next is multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary means what? Creation of a new discipline or creation of a completely new idea, new school of thought when you exchange the ideas between the disciplines. And for that, you need to have a new historicist approach to reading of a text, reading literature through history, or reading history through literature, or reading music through folklore. Like in one of my lectures, I was telling you that the winner writes history. So what happens to the story of the so-called loser? To me, there is nobody who is a loser in any kind of battle or war. But still, in the making of any civilization, the so-called loser also has contributed substantially. And the ethnomusicologists write about that. So today we'll discuss how in the green approaches, the ethnomusicologists and the folklorists have a substantial contribution. We would be also talking about that. And then let's also talk about the sustainable development and multidisciplinary approach vis-a-vis oceans and forests, which are plundered by dualism. This Dvaitavad, black and white, good and bad. So human beings at one point of time started thinking that we are the superior creatures. So they created some kind of a Dvaitavad. They created dualism, that I am better than the other animals. I am better than the other creatures. So they started exploiting them. So this kind of colonial thinking, this is a colonial mindset, that I would exploit the forests, I would exploit the oceans, I would plunder the oceans and the forests. So this Dvaitavad or this dualism or this easy binary between me as a better creation and you as poorer than me, this kind of dualism or this kind of binary opposition between the two has been problematized by the folklorists in ocean humanities and green studies, which we call also plant studies. So these are new areas of research and pedagogy. If you are researchers in folk literature, then I would recommend go deeper into that. Read those very carefully and try to understand what is green studies, how green studies challenges any kind of colonialism, any kind of colonial mindset that is challenged by the green studies, and also ocean humanities, ocean studies, ocean feminism, ocean ecofeminism. All these terms are, very interconnected. So that is how, if you do a cultural materialistic approach, or if you study Raymond Williams and the cultural materialism and the new historicism, then you will understand that how you can study all these disciplines together. Ecofeminism, eco-criticism, witness literature, folk literature, and all these areas of research, anthropocene, anthropomorphism. So these kind of studies, how they can be studied together, and you create a multidisciplinary approach to your research. So this is what would be our topic of our discussion today, and how this is an extension of colonial thinking, and then the unavoidable consequences when we plunder nature. Then green studies and ocean humanities, they ring a bell. They put a word of caution to us. They warn us that there are unavoidable circumstances. See, for example, COVID. The kind of pollution or the kind of, exploitation of nature that we have been spreading across. Maybe COVID was a word of warning for us that it's time that you stop. It's time that you think about the blue. It's time that you think about the green. So, passing from the red, which is exploitation and violence, passing from the red towards the blue and the green. This is a part of your folklore research, and this is what we would be discussing today. And as the students of folk literature have a critical thinking, maybe in your term and examination, or maybe in your assignments, you would be getting these kind of questions from me that discuss green studies and blue studies vis-a-vis folklore research. So these kind of questions are very much possible. So listen to the discourses carefully and do your own research, and then get into the critical pedagogy of these things. And then theoretical and methodological introduction to the green studies and blue studies is again a part of today's discourse. And we'll also talk about blue ecofeminism. Now, what is ecofeminism? Ecofeminism, in the simplistic terms, this is something about thinking of ecology in terms of the feminists' thinking. And under ecofeminism, whole lot of things will come, like the issue of a girl child, education of a girl child, protection of the environment, sustainable protection of the environment, and taking care of the senior citizens, and then looking after the food stock, and also employment and food and sustainability for all, like M.S. Swaminathan had introduced the Green Revolution in India. So this green studies and ecofeminism and eco-criticism, this Narmada Bachao Andolan in India, isn't it? You also know about it. And Chipko movement. So in order to fell a tree, I would chipko, or I would cling to a tree. So you have to cut me before you cut a tree. So that movement started in India. So India is a country with rich indigenous knowledge systems and rich cultural heritages. So living in this kind of a country, if we don't think about the blue and the green, then probably we are not doing our service to the society or to the civilization in a more positive manner. If you look at our Indian knowledge systems, if you look at Indian mythology and folklore, you will find multiple examples. Our engagement of the mythologies with the ocean, you look at the Ramayana. Lord Ram crosses the ocean to find Sita. And then while crossing the ocean, there are so many incidents related to the squirrels, to the Vanarsena, to so many people associated with that. So small lessons of life you will find from our ocean studies. And looking at the Mahabharata, again, Saraladas Mahabharata, in Odia literature, Saraladas has transliterated the mainstream Mahabharata to Odia language, and Saraladas Mahabharata is very important text. And in that, I find a very intricate and a very interesting episode titled the Kokua Bhai episode. Kokua is an imaginary creature. And the Kokua, Saraladas narrated Kokua like, that is a creature who has face of a human being and body of a lion and a trunk of an elephant and beaks of, a bird and tail of an animal. So those kind, a very ferocious kind of an animal, imaginary animal he has created. That's a very interesting story. Again, that is connected with the green and the blue both in Saraladas' Mahabharata. Please allow me to narrate this episode to you briefly. When a Mahabharata war is over, all the Pandavas and Kauravas, they are over, and the Pandavas, they have gone to the heaven, and Lord Krishna thinks that now this avatar, the purpose of this avatar is over. Now I have nothing much to do here, so I have to go back to my Lord Vishnu avatar once again, or something like that he thinks. And then when he wants to go, he discovers that his clan, the Yadav Kul, the people of his clan, they have become very, very corrupt. They have lost the logical thinking, and they have become rather corrupt. So he wants that the Yadav Kul should be finished. Before he goes back, he wants to finish the Yadav Kul. But he cannot kill his own people. So he creates Kokua Bhai, fear of an imaginary creature called Kokua, who has ferocious looks. And that has been translated by Ashok K. Mahapatra. I'll just read out a line about the Kokua. So, is there really a beast called Kokua, Vasudev? Devaki asked her spouse, but Govind answered. Lord Krishna answers how Kokua is. He says, Mother dear, real it is and well known since time immemorial. Remained it in the heaven and the ocean all through the 4 ages and never entered our world. So the Kokua, the imaginary fearful animal, it comes from there. Into our city it came no sooner than the Kali Yuga did. It has arms stretching over miles, 7 eyes, tails 9, thrashing about in the sky, and a cavern of a mouth that is miles wide and deep, that devours one and all. So imagine he creates this kind of a fear that Kokua is coming and it's going to kill all of you. So all the people from the Yadav Kul, they start running. They want to save themselves. While they get competitive and everyone wants to escape the Kokua, then they kill each other. They fight each other, they kill each other, and at the end of the day, the entire Yadav Kul has destroyed itself completely. So next morning, Lord Krishna, he discovers that Yadav Kul has completely destroyed itself. So if you compare the fearful Kokua with W.B. Yeats' animal in the second coming, the body of a lion and head of a man, somewhat I find a lot of similarity there. So anyway, from ocean and from the heavens, the Kokua comes. So there is some kind of engagement with the ocean. And then after everyone is gone, everyone has destroyed themselves from the Yadav Kul, Lord Krishna, he takes rest in the forest. And then from there, Jara Savar, the tribal king, he looks at one foot of Lord Krishna, which is pink and beautiful, and then he sends his arrow to kill that animal. He thinks that it's an animal, a deer or something. So he's a hunter, so he tries to hunt the animal. And then Lord Krishna's he purifies the earthly body of Lord Krishna, Zarashavar. He does that. And before Lord Krishna leaves his body, he gives his soul to Zarashavar, and then for 100 years or more, the Savar community, the tribal community, they worship Nilamadhav, which is Lord Krishna's soul, in the forest. So Nilamadhav becomes a tribal god. So look at the engagement of the sea and the green with our Indian knowledge systems. In the indigenous and Indian knowledge systems, you will always find that there is some or other association of the forest. Anyway, so after more than 100 years, Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, he comes to the dream of the king Raja Indradyumna, and he tells him that now you have to take me from the forest, from this community, and then you have to take me to the mainstream Jagannath Puri temple and worship me, put me in the temple. So in this process, what happens? Raja Indradyumna, he sends Vidyapati, his envoy, to bring Nilamadhav from the forest. And Vidyapati comes, and then he gets married to the daughter of King Vishwavasu. And in the night of the marriage, he wants her to give him a gift. And the gift is, I want to see Nilamadhav at least once. And then when she takes him to see Nilamadhav by, putting blindfold in his eyes, he goes on throwing mustard seeds throughout the way. And during the rainy season, the mustard flowers come, and then Vidyapati goes to Nilamadhav and he steals Nilamadhav, the soul of Lord Krishna, and he brings it to Puri Jagannath temple, and the mainstream Puri Jagannath temple introduces the soul of Nilamadhav, which is Lord Krishna, in the new avatar, Lord Jagannath avatar. So this is how, this Lord Jagannath avatar is closely associated with the green, with the forest. Lord Jagannath is a tribal god, the Nilamadhav, and also the Kokua, which comes from the ocean and from the heaven. It has also association with the forest. So basically speaking, our Indian knowledge systems, our indigenous knowledge systems, all of them have close association with the forest, with the ocean. And so that is how we have zoo folkloristics, and then we have eco-folkloristics. We have witness literature, we have scriptocentric, phonocentric and body-centric approaches to folklore, scriptocentric, written literature. So in our written literature, you find mention of the green and the blue, and the phonocentric, which is hearing. So in our folk music and in our Indian classical music, there is always eulogy towards the green and the blue, and the body-centric, which is body tattoos, as well as our dance forms, our folk dance forms, our classical dance forms. All of them have deep and close association with the green and the blue. So in this research, cultural animal studies is another important part, how we have colonized the animals. So under the green studies and the blue studies and the witness literature, we have cultural animal studies, we have ocean humanities, and then under the post-green, there is one area of research called the post-green, like your post-colonialism, your post-modernism. Under the post-green, we have to move beyond the monoculture. Monoculture, human-oriented thinking, that I am a human being, I am better than everybody. So you have to go beyond the monoculture, and then you have to go celebrate the diversity and plurality of the other flora and the fauna, other animals and the creatures. This is what our green studies and the blue studies teach us. In case you want to discuss more with me about the green and the blue cultures and also about the post-green, please get in touch with me. I am Professor Nandini Sahu. My email ID is nandinisahu@ignou.ac.in. Thank you.
Are you a fresh graduate? Do you want to fulfill your educational aspiration by pursuing higher education in various interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary areas like environmental science, environment and occupational health, philosophy, sustainability science, folklore and culture studies? If yes, the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies offers various programs like Master's Program, Graduate Program, Postgraduate Diploma, Certificate and Appreciation Program. The school offers 5 Master's Program. Master of Science, Environmental Science. The eligibility criteria for MSc Environmental Science is Graduate in Science, BTech, BE, Agriculture Graduate, Forestry Graduate and Veterinary Graduate. School also offers Masters in Environment and Occupational Health, Masters in Sustainability Science, Masters in Philosophy and Masters in Folklore and Culture Studies. The eligibility criteria for these 4 Masters program is graduate in any discipline. The school also offers various socially relevant and need-based PG Diploma program like PG Diploma in Sustainability Science, PG Diploma in Environment and Occupational Health, PG Diploma in Folklore and Culture Studies and PG Diploma in Migration and Diaspora Studies. The school also offers PG Certificate in Climate Change and Avshist Prabandhan mein Pramar Patra. The school also offers 2 doctoral programs, PhD in Environmental Science and PhD in Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies. The school offers various innovative technologies and multimedia for providing a very excellent student support system. The study material is of high quality. The learner support is provided through Gyan Darshan, Gyan Vani, IRC, Swayam Prabha and Swayam channel of IGNOU. For more detail, please log in to IGNOU website. For online admission in these programs, visit school site and also the Samarth online education portal of IGNOU. So please
Hello learners, welcome to this session. So this session is 12th in the series of MCS 221 data warehousing and data mining. So in this session, let us discuss some trends in data warehousing. So in this session, we will cover data lake and data swamp. So there are several challenges for a data warehousing, maybe from the end of design, quality, the design that too pertaining to dimensional modeling, quality, handling of several petabytes of data, and then storage issues may be one part, or else interface issues. So there are several challenges which a data warehouse will encounter. So in order to overcome these particular challenges, always the research is on, and most of the solutions like the cloud-based solution, real-time data warehousing are there existing and are also gradually becoming advanced in nature. So in this particular today's session, there is one term coined called as data lake and the second term coined called as the data swamp. So let us define what exactly is the data lake and how is it different from data warehousing. So the definition of the data lake is that it provides a scalable and secure platform that allows enterprises to ingest any data. So you have to underline the word ingest any data from any system at any speed, that to any type of data. Even if the data comes from on-premises, cloud, IoT devices, or else edge computing systems, all these data can be accommodated. So they store any type or volume of data in full fidelity, process data in real time or else nearly real time or batch mode, and analyze data using SQL, Python, R, or any other language, or else third party which are involved in analytics applications. So this particular data type, here you can see the word any data, any system, any speed, and any type. So these are the words which will be ringing in our ear whenever we define the data lake. So data warehousing in particular, there we will be following certain schema method, wherein which they will be following either the dimensional modeling may be in the form of a snow schema, star schema, snowflake schema, or else the hybrid schema. And that too we had discussed in our earlier session about the data cubes and the multi-dimensional kind of modeling. So here in the data lakes, these were response exactly to the limitation of the data warehouses, wherein which the data warehouses provides the business with highly performing and scalable analytics, but these are very much expensive and then proprietary kind of nature. Most of them are proprietary kind of nature and can't handle the modern use cases. So that is the main difficulty that the data warehousing, which were a decade back already existing in the MNCs. So these are unable to cater to the modern use cases, and most of the companies like the streamed data kind of thing is there. So that is appearing only from past 6 to 7 years. Either it may be in e-commerce, entertainment industry, IoT devices, or edge computing devices. So these will continuously throw on that data. So handling such kind of streamed data is becoming a bit difficulty with the old data warehousing methods. So data warehouses are often used to consolidate all of an organization data in a single central location where it can be saved as in as-is condition. So no need of particularly putting them in a kind of format or else in a kind of schema desirable for later on analytics or later on user requirements. However, without the need to impose a schema upfront like a data warehouse, it can be stored in as-is condition. So that is the main advantage that the data lake is gaining over the data warehousing. So data in all stages of the refinement process can be stored in a data lake. Either it may be a raw data can be ingested or else stored like structured data from the relational databases that also can be ingested, or else tabular data sources also can be ingested like the tables and other kinds of things, as well as intermediate data tables generated in the process of refining the raw data. Those also can be ingested in this process. So any kind of data can be catered with the use of the data lake. So unlike most of the databases and data warehouses, these particular data lakes can process all types of data. Either it may be structured, unstructured, or else semi-structured data. Like images may be one kind of data, video can be the other kind of data, podcasting like the audio can be another kind of data, documents can be another kind of data. These are all critical for today's machine learning and advanced analytics. All these use cases can be sorted out using the data lakes concept. So here in the diagram you can see there are wide variety of data sources. Those are being given. Here on the first left hand side you can see top most right corner, media files, audio, video documents. These are also considered as the data, and these can be ingested into the data lake in the as-is position, or else real-time data that is coming from IoT and edge devices. Those can be catered. Batch data which are falling in flat file systems like in the earlier in different files and formats. Those also can be pulled into cloud applications or else relational databases. The data can be coming from IoT devices. The data can be coming from the secure device like IoT devices, edge devices. All these things, the data can be coming and it can be ingested into data lake. Like on the right side, you can see there are very structural kind of thing which are coming as the relational and non-relational databases. That too, in the relational, they are in the form of tables. So those also can be input into the data lake. Like social media, the streaming kind of applications, the Facebook or else Twitter kind of tweets, and other social media applications, that data also can be considered and can be ingested into. Like system logs, then can be a semi-structured data which can also be pulled into the data lake. So where lies the advantage or where lies the need? These particular data lakes are often, are also, we can call them as the open format. So users can avoid lock into a proprietary system, just like we had purchased some data warehousing system from a proprietary company, and you have been completely locked into, and you have to pay for the annual maintenance also for the company in order to have some sort of changes, or in order to gain the patches and other kinds of things, or else in order to have additional security and other kinds of things. But here in the data lakes, this is completely a open format, and you can store it in as is condition. So which this particular concept is becoming increasingly very important for the modern data architectures. So these data lakes are also highly durable and are coming with low cost because of their ability to scale and leverage object storage. So these particular things are coming up in low cost when compared to the data warehousing platforms, which are very much costlier, and mostly when you purchase the third party kind of thing from any company, so you are binded to that particular data warehouse, or else you are binded to the architecture that they had developed and designed. So you have to pay in crores of rupees if the MNC is maintaining for past 5 years or 1 decade data. Additionally, advanced data analytics and machine learning on these unstructured data are some of the most strategic priorities for enterprise today. So the unique ability to ingest raw data in a variety of formats like structured, unstructured, along with the other benefits mentioned, make this particular data lake the clear choice of the data storage. So it is not just dumping. However, there is certain architecture, layered architecture involved in the data lake also. So it is not just like storing it in the form of a folder or in the form of a raw file dispersed anywhere. That is not the kind of thing. However, it also follows a kind of layered architecture that is called as layered architecture of the data lake, which we'll be discussing shortly. So let us just compare the data lake with the data warehousing. Where lies the exact difference? We were telling on one side, we are telling that any kind of data can be stored in the data lake in the as is format. But in the data warehouse, you have to have certain format, or you have to have certain schema involved in the dimensional modeling. So on one hand, in the data lake, raw or processed data in any format is ingested from multiple sources that we had already seen while defining the data lake. Data is obtained from multiple sources for analyzing and reporting. That too, most of the data warehouses supports the structured kind of data. But in the data lake, the schema is created on the fly. You can call it as on the fly as required, or else you can call it as the schema on read. But here in the data warehouse, it is a predefined schema that to design using any kind of multi-modeling and the data cube architecture, and you can call that particular thing as the schema on write. It is not on read, but it is on write. New data can be added very easily in the data lake, but when you come to the data warehouse, data is ready after processing, but it has to undergo certain ETL techniques, and then it can be stored in a certain format in the data warehouses. And in the data lake, data needs to be updated and governed to be relevant, but in data warehouse, data is already in the best form or best format, so it does not require any kind of specific maintenance. In the data lake, it consists of huge volumes of big data as the concept has grown, and further most of the companies are doing the applications with big data. So this data lake is also picking up very popular nowadays. So in the data warehouse, data is usually lesser than in the data lake. It may be in the terabytes, but in the data lake, it will be somewhere around petabytes, which is wherein which it is dealing with the big data. So most of the users here in the data lake, they are data scientists who are doing the data science applications. But in the data warehouse, when you talk, most of the things are being used by the business analysts. So for transaction processing, that is online transaction processing, operational analytics, reporting, creating visualizations. So these are the kinds of applications or else the requirements from the business analysts. In the data lake, data can be stored and archived for an extended period to be analyzed at any point of time. But in the data warehouse, data needs to be frequently purged and accommodate the latest data. So there is a frequency cycle given for each and every data warehouse, wherein which it may be even a day, or else it may be a week, or else 1 month, or else bi-monthly, whatever the scheme that we are following it in the programming side. So data warehouse accommodates that particular scheme, and it always refreshes the data in the frequency that has been already mentioned. Here in the data lake, the storage is very inexpensive, but when the case comes for the data warehouse, storage and processing are very expensive and time consuming. Data science can develop new problems and solutions by looking at the type of data that it is catering to in the data lake, and in the data warehousing, the scope of data is limited to a specific business problem. So you can see in the figure the data lake versus the data warehouse. Here, affordable storage, which is very much inexpensive, that is associated with the data lake, and then structured, unstructured, semi-structured data can be ingested. Users are data scientists especially, provides data for AI and ML models. So this is the main advantage that we are getting when compared to the data warehousing. Here, AI and machine learning techniques can be implemented in order to predict some sort of analytics. Schema, here we call it as schema on read, and here we call it as schema on write. Here in the data warehousing, you can see the storage is very expensive. Structured data only is permitted. That way it will be following certain schema, or else you can call it as a data cube. So certain structures are being almost they will be followed here. And users are mostly the business analyst or else the business users. And business reports and performance metrics are the things that we can be deriving from the data warehouse. So when it comes to the transforming kind of thing, wherein which in the data warehouse always we talk that there will be an interface layer wherein which a ETL process will be happening from the raw data that is being procured and the data that is being ingested into the data warehouse. So ETL is a transformation technique that we will be following in the data warehouse. While in the data lake, it is only ELT, extract and then extract, load, and later on, if at all there is a chance for the transformation, then only it does the transformation. Otherwise, here it is completely, it follows the ELT technique. In the data warehouse, it is ETL, and in the data lake, it will be mostly ELT. Let us see some use cases also where this data lake can be used. First and foremost, in the media and entertainment is the domain. A company offering streaming music like Wink, or else Airtel Music, or else Amazon Music, whatever the case may be. These companies, they are offering streaming music, radio, and podcasts. They can increase the revenue by improving their recommendation system, so users can consume their service more, allowing the company to sell more ads. So that is one use case with respect to the media and entertainment. And the second use case may be a supply chain management, wherein which the tremendous amount of big data in data lakes help predictive analytics for transportation and logistics. So this is another use case. This using historic and current data, businesses can plan their daily operations smoothly, inspect inventory movement in real time, and optimize the costs at their end. Then comes a third use case which pertains to the healthcare. The data lake has all the past and current information of the patients, and this is very much helpful in the research, or else finding out new diseases, or else finding the patterns, how it is occurring, or else providing better and ahead of time treatment for diseases. So all these things can be considered as one of the applications pertaining to the data lake in the health sector domain. And then financial services is another use case wherein which an investment firm, some XYZ investment firm can rely on data lakes to power machine learning, so they can manage portfolio risks as soon as real-time market data is made accessible. So most of the companies whichever are related to the financial services, these particular companies are adopting the culture of having a data lake at their end. And then there is another interesting application called as streaming data and IoT. So these data lakes can continuously receive streaming data submitted to analytics pipelines for continuous reporting and detecting any unusual activities and movements. So this is possible due to the data lake's ability to collect real-time data. So it is not waiting for the frequency cycle like 1 week or bi-monthly or monthly, but it is almost in the real time. It is collecting the streaming data and it is trying to see the continuous reporting and detecting by any unusual activities and the movements. So let us talk about the data lake architecture. As we had seen, there is a layered, or else you can say a kind of block diagram we had seen for each and every type of data warehouse. Here, data lake also follows a kind of practice of having a layered architecture wherein which it consists of 4 layers. First layer is called as the ingestion layer, second layer is called as the storage layer, third layer is called as the transformation layer, and the fourth layer is the interaction layer. In the first layer, you can see the block diagram. This is the first layer, and it talks about a kind of blocks. Here, the main component in the ingestion layer is the metadata extraction. So, or else the tagging kind of thing. So, that is the main thing that the ingestion layer will be containing. And later on, one by one, we can see this is a kind of layered architecture wherein which here you can see most of the databases, like they may be pertaining to structured, semi-structured or unstructured, coming from cloud or normal servers, database servers. Most of the data is being loaded into the ingestion layer in as is condition. And then the next layer that is taking up is the storage layer, wherein which storage component is the main thing here. And then the third layer is the transformation, because as it is following the ELT technique, so transformation will be done for some of the data, and then in the interaction layer, this particular layer will be towards the user's end, and they will be doing certain kinds of analytics kind of thing, or else running some ML programs or AI programs, so that they will be getting the analytics. So this is a kind of layered architecture here. In the ingestion layer, it is completely the in charge of bringing the data into the data lake system from various resources. Those may be structured, unstructured, or streaming, IoT, whatever the case may be. This is the layer meant for, or else the in charge manager to bring into the data, various data. And then the next component that can be discussed is the metadata extractor. This is the key component of the ingestion layer, and it should make it easier for data lake administrators to configure new data sources and make them accessible to the data lake. Here in the metadata extractor, this is nothing but it will be extracting data from the extracting metadata from the data that is there, and then it will be storing in the like ingestion layer. To accomplish this, the metadata extractor should extract as much metadata as possible from the data source and store it in data lake's metadata storage. So there is a component called as, along with the data, the metadata is also being extracted and will be stored at a certain designated place. So that thing you have to understand. So as much as metadata can be extracted, the file can be easily, or else the data can be easily retrieved. Since the raw data are kept in their original format and we are not at all disturbing the format, suppose if a .mp3 file is there or MPEG-4 file is there, so those particular data will be storing in their original formats, or else you can say that it is as is format, or else a copy kind of operation is being there, and automatically that is as it is copied into some certain point, which is certainly less complex, and then ETL process, just like the ETL process in the data warehouses. The second layer is the storage layer, wherein which the metadata repository and the raw data repositories are the two components of the storage data. Here the name itself is saying that it is having a kind of storage kind of part. So since raw data repositories must be stored in native format, and data lake environment must support a variety of storage systems for relational, graphs, XML, JSON data. So Hadoop, most probably that is a solution that appears to be strong candidate for the storage layers basic problem to support this data fidelity. However, additional components such as TEZ and Falcon are needed. So here, as we say that the raw files is a kind of copy other than the original file. So here the raw data repositories must be stored in their native format itself. And then there will be a kind of cataloging wherein which along with the metadata that has been followed, the cataloging process will be there, and then the file can be easily retrieved. In the transformation layer, which is the third layer, the data can be transformed from storage to user experiences using the transformation layer. So it requires operations such as cleaning, or else you can call it as the cleansing, format transformations, and so on. If at all the minor transformations needs to be done to the data, that will be taken care in the transformation layer. And there is another layer called as the interaction layer, and this is towards the user end. The functionalities here includes the visualization, annotation, selection and filtering of data, as well as it can run some analytic methods which are the part of the interactive layer. It's also worth noting that more advanced analytics like machine learning and data mining should not be regarded as part of the data lake system's capabilities. So coming to the challenges, even though it stores in the raw format, it caters to a wide variety of data, it also has certain challenges to overcome. The main challenge is that raw data is stored with no oversight of the contents, and then if at all it is unable to, if at all the data lake is in unmanageable condition, it will be leading to a kind of data swamp. So meeting the needs of wider audiences require data lakes to have a good governance. This system needs to be prevailed, and then semantic consistency needs to be there, and access controls. So you have to specify the access, to whom you are providing the access, and to what extent, and to which data. So all these things needs to be taken care. If at all you fail in the governance part or else access control part, then it will lead automatically to a kind of dump, or else you can call it as a data swamp. So nowadays what they are doing is deployment. They are deploying these data lakes in the cloud platform. Why? Because it will be having a kind of elasticity. The cloud platforms will be having a kind of elasticity, and then we don't know how much data will be coming from the streaming end. So until and unless you have a kind of a cloud platform on hand, it can't be catered, or the data lake cannot be considered. So in order to have the access, a kind of faster access, in order to have the elasticity, in order to have availability by 24/7, and in order to cover a more geographical area, and in order to have the cost per the use, that the model which is followed in the cloud computing, by having these particular things in mind, most of the data lakes are being deployed on the cloud platforms. So there is another term which is coined and is called as data swamp. This particular data swamp is nothing but it is not at all a latest model. However, the deteriorated condition or else unmanageable condition of a data lake is called as a data swamp. So you have to remember the word. However, this is not a trend, but data lake is a trend, but data swamp is not a trend. However, unmanageable data lake is called as the data swamp. When a data lake becomes unorganized, or else cluttered, or else difficult to navigate, or unable to manage the tags and the catalogs, then it will lead automatically to the data swamp. In a data swamp, data scientists and other users who need to access the data spend considerable time, because you will be it is just like a kind of a swamp wherein which you have to search the data, and it is and the whole data swamp is unmanageable, and then it will lead to a considerable time in order to find out simple data items also. So discovery, cleaning, and then integration and management is very difficult task in the data swamps. So they need to find the relevant data sets, ensure the data in clean and usable, integrate the data into their work, and manage the overall data storage system. So reasons for formation of the data is nothing but if at all you have the data lake which is lacking of the governance, if at all you have a data lake inconsistent with data formats, or else lack of metadata management, insufficient access controls and security, complex unmaintained code, lack of documentation, and then maybe the version also will be difficult for certain cases wherein which it leads to the data swamps. You can see here the aspects that we had recorded on the left hand side regarding data organization, data quality, metadata, and data governance. And on the right side, you can see the differences of the data lake and the data swamp. In the data lake, it is completely within our control, and as this format, all these things we had already seen. However, it is maintaining a rich kind of metadata. In the data swamp, everything is in opposite nature. Uncontrolled data lake itself is called as a data swamp. So here you can see accessibility, usability, security and compliance, user efficiency, and data integration as some of the aspects we had considered. And again, that data lake is having the data is accessible, useful for deriving insights, strong security measures are there in the data lake. However, the opposite side, you can see that data swamp is almost failed in the security aspects, providing efficiency, providing accessibility, providing the data integration. So impacts of data swamps are nothing but it will decrease the productivity, poor decision making, increased costs, regulatory risks, missed opportunities, reduced customer satisfaction, and security risks. So here in this particular session, let us have a recap. In this session, we had seen certain challenges of data warehouses and how they can be overcome using the trends that are latest available. And then we had coined two terms called as data lake and data swamp. And we had seen the what exactly is a data lake, what kind of architecture it will be having. And then the opposite side, we had seen a kind of term called as data swamp. Unorganized data lake is called as a data swamp. So more you can read from MCS 221, Unit 6. In the next session, let us concentrate on real-time data warehousing and other aspects. Thank you. All the best.
Welcome to this session on Fieldwork Practicum in the first semester of BSWG program. BSWG program has one Fieldwork Practicum in the first semester, which is BSWL